एतादृशेकस्मिन् भ्रमणकाले भगवान् श्रीकृष्ण नारदं जीवनस्य सत्यस्य अवगन्तुं कृतवान्। एतत् ज्ञानं खलु दुर्बलं, तत् सत्यं किं? जीवनसत्यम् इति नाम्ना एतत् नाटकं पश्यामः। देवऋषि नारद अक्सर द्वारिका में भगवान कृष्ण से मिलने आते थे और उससे प्रश्न पूछते थे या चर्चा करते थे। एक बार ऐसे ही एक यात्रा पर भगवान कृष्ण नारद से एक साधारण व्यक्ति का वेश धारण कर अपने साथ चलने को कहते हैं। तब नारद जी उनसे पूछते हैं कि हे प्रभु, हम कहाँ जा रहे हैं और हमने वेश धारण क्यों किया है? आइए देखते हैं नारद जी को उत्तर देते हुए भगवान कृष्ण क्या कहते हैं।
हे भगवान, आवाम कुत्र गच्छामः? किमर्थं च अस्माभिः एतद्विषये परिवर्तना?
धैर्यं धारय नारद, द्रक्ष्यसि त्वम्।
अस्तु प्रभु, नारायण नारायण। किमर्थं रोदसी पुत्र? किम् अभवत्?
मम माता स्वर्गं गता। सा केवलं 50 वर्षाणि एव आसीत्। अल्पे रसितस्य मृत्युः उचिता वा? ईश्वरे, किमर्थम् एतावत् अन्यायपूर्णः? ईश्वरेऽपि अस्ति वा?
प्रत्युत ते मां शापयन्ति, अस्य किमपि अर्थोऽस्मि वा?
एतत् सर्वं मम कृते विचित्रं दृश्यते भगवन्।
नारद, त्वम् अन्यदेशं नीत्वा अन्यत् किमपि दर्शयामि।
अस्तु प्रभु, नारायण नारायण।
किञ्चित् धनं ददातु, किञ्चित् भोजनं ददातु। कृपया किञ्चित् धनं दातुं शक्नुतः वा? गतदिनद्वयं मया किमपि न खादितम्।
कथं त्वं याचके अभवत्?
अहं जानामि वा? अहं बाल्यकालात् याचकः अस्मि। अहं न जानामि मम मातापितरौ के सन्ति। अहं निराश्रयः अस्मि। जनाः यत्किमपि दत्तवन्तः तत् अहं खादितवान्। कदाचित् अहं केवलं वने अनेकानि फलानि खादितवान्। एवं मम जीवनम् अस्ति। बहुवारम् अहं चिन्तयामि यत् किम् ईश्वरस्य हृदयं नास्ति। एतावता दुःखे बहुवारम् अहं किमपि न खादितम्। तथापि ईश्वरः कदापि मम साहाय्यं न कृतवान्, कदापि न कृतवान्।
ईश्वरस्य आलोचनां मा करोतु। अस्माकं समीपे किञ्चित् धनमस्ति, वयं भवद्भ्यः दास्यामः।
अस्तु अस्तु।
एतत् धनं गृहीत्वा गृहं किञ्चित् कृषिभूमिः च क्रेतुम्।
एतत् बहु धनमस्ति। एतावता धनेन किं करिष्यामि?
धनस्य सदुपयोगं कुरु। किञ्चित् कृषिभूमिं क्रीत्वा किञ्चित् कृषिं च कुर्वन्तु, जीवनं यापनं करोति।
अस्तु अस्तु, धन्यवादः, महान् धन्यवादः, महान् धन्यवादः।
आगच्छतु नारद, अधुना द्वारिकां प्रति गच्छावः। एक वर्षं पश्चात् वयं पुनः एतानि स्थानि गमिष्यामः।
अस्तु प्रभु, नारायण नारायण।
एक वर्ष बीत जाता है। नारद भगवान कृष्ण के दर्शन के लिए द्वारिका जाते हैं तथा भगवान कृष्ण से घूमने के विषय में पूछते हैं कि एक वर्ष पहले जहाँ हम गए थे, आप उन स्थानों पर दोबारा नहीं ले गए। तब भगवान कृष्ण नारद से कहते हैं, चलो जहाँ एक वर्ष पहले गए थे उन स्थानों पर अब हम दोबारा जाएंगे। दोनों अपना वेश बदलकर पहले गांव की ओर चल देते हैं।
नारायण नारायण। अद्य किं करिष्यसि भगवन्? अन्तिमवारम् अत्र आगमना एक वर्षं जातं। किं ते जनाः स्वग्रामेषु तिष्ठन्ति स्म?
आवां शीघ्रं ज्ञास्यामः नारद।
अस्तु प्रभु, नारायण नारायण।
नमो नमः।
अभिवादनं स्वागतं स्वागतं भवनतो गतवर्षे अत्र आगतवन्तः किं न?
आम् आम् अद्य उत्सवे अस्ति।
आम् अद्य मम पुत्रस्य नामकरणसमारोहः अस्ति। कृपया प्रविश्य भोजस्य भागं गृह्णन्तु।
यदा वयं भवन्तम् अन्तिमे गतवन्तः तदा भवन्तः रोदिवन्तः आसन्। इदानीं किं परिवर्तनं जातम्?
अहो तत् विस्मरतु। कृपया अत्र उपविशतु, भोजस्य भागं गृह्णन्तु। तत् रोदनस्य विषये किमर्थं कथ्यते?
क्षमा याचना, परन्तु अस्माभिः अन्यत्र गन्तव्यम्, अतः इदानीं गमिष्यामि।
नमो नमः।
कृष्ण और नारद भिक्षुका को ढूंढने के लिए चल पड़ते हैं। सबसे उसके विषय में पूछते हैं और अंत में वह उन्हें मिल जाती है। उसकी स्थिति अभी भी पिछले साल की तरह ही होती है। अभी भी वह भिक्षा ही मांग रही होती है।
कृपया किंचित् धनं ददातु, कृपया किंचित् धनं ददातु। इदं किं? वयं गतवर्षे भवतः बहुधनं दत्तवन्तः, तथापि अत्र अस्य त्वं भिक्षाटनं करोषि। तत् सर्वं धनं त्वया किं कृतं? किं वदामि? एतावत् धनं प्राप्ते अहं तत् व्ययितवान्। अहं राजकीयरूपेण खादितवान्। यावत् धनं न समाप्तं तावत् अहं जीवनप्रमाणे आसम्, किन्तु मया किमपि फलप्रदं न कृतम्। अतः अहं पुनः दरिद्रे अभवम्। हे भगवान्, स्वर्णमुद्रायाः एकपुटम् अपि तस्य पर्याप्तं न आसीत्।
नारद, यदि आवां तस्या कृते एकं स्वर्णमुद्रापुटम् अधिकं ददामि, तथापि सा तथैव करिष्यति। यदि आवां तस्या कृते स्वर्णमुद्रापुटं ददामि, तथापि सा अपि तथैव करिष्यति। मया तस्या धनं दत्तं, किन्तु तत् किं प्रयोजनं कृतवान्? यत्किमपि भवति तत् तस्या अतीतरूपं भवति। प्रत्येकस्य पुरुषस्य अतीतं भवति, यत् तस्य व्यक्तिस्य भविष्यस्य कारणं भवन्ति। तथापि सा व्यक्ति न जानाति यत् भविष्ये किं किं संगृहीतम् अस्ति।
एतानि स्थानानि नीत्वा भगवान् एतानि स्थिति दर्शितवान्। मम मनसि एकः प्रश्नः उत्थितः।
किम्?
किं त्वमेव एतेषां सर्वेषां घटनानां कारणमस्मि?
न देवऋषि, सर्वथा न। अहं कारणं नास्मि, ते एव कारणं। ते एव तेषां शुभ अशुभ घटनानां कारणमस्ति। ते एव तेषां दुःखानाम् उत्तरदायी भवन्ति। पूर्ववर्तमान जीवनस्य कर्मणाम् आधारेण जनाः स्वजीवने सुख-दुःखयोः सामनां कुर्वन्ति।
नारायण नारायण।
देवऋषि नारद जी जब भगवान कृष्ण से पूछते हैं कि क्या प्रभु आप ही सभी घटनाओं के कारण हैं, तो भगवान कृष्ण कहते हैं नहीं नहीं, मैं नहीं। स्वयं मनुष्य ही अपने सभी शुभ और अशुभ घटनाओं के कारण होते हैं। वह अपने पूर्व जन्म के फल स्वरूप ही सुख और दुख पाते हैं। तब नारद जी कहते हैं कि जब लोग खुश होते हैं तो वे शायद ही आपको याद करते हैं, लेकिन जब वे दुख में होते हैं तो वे सोचते हैं कि उनकी इस दुर्दशा के लिए आप ही जिम्मेदार हैं तथा आप ही उनके जीवन में बाधाओं का कारण हैं। लेकिन वास्तव में वे स्वयं ही जिम्मेदार हैं। अपने कर्मों के आधार पर उन्हें या तो खुशी या दुख का सामना करना पड़ता है। आपकी कृपा से आज मैंने सचमुच जीवन का सत्य जान लिया।
सत्कर्म फलं भद्रं भविष्यति, पाप कर्म फलं च शोकं भवेत्। जीवन सत्यमिदं सर्वैः ज्ञात्वा सदा कार्याणि पुण्यकर्माणि।
नारायण नारायण।
तभी भगवान कृष्ण कहते हैं कि हे नारद, यह बात सत्य है। पुण्य कर्मों का फल अच्छा होगा और पाप कर्मों का फल दुखद होगा। प्रत्येक व्यक्ति को जीवन के इस सत्य को समझना चाहिए तथा सदैव पुण्य कर्म करने चाहिए।
धन्यवाद।
विदुष्येत् प्रियं प्राप्य नोद्विजेत् प्राप्य चाप्रियं स्थिरबुद्धिरसम्मूढः ब्रह्मविद् ब्रह्मणि स्थितः बाह्यस्पर्शेषु सक्तात्मा विन्दत्यात्मनि यत्सुखं स ब्रह्मयोगयुक्तात्मा सुखमक्षयमश्नुते ये हि संस्पर्शजा भोगाः दुःखयोनय एव ते आद्यन्तः कौन्तेय न तेषु रमते बुधः शक्नोति हैव यस्तोढुं प्राक्शरीरविमोक्षणा कामक्रोधोद्भवं वेगं स युक्तः स सुखी नरः योऽन्तः सुखोत्तरारामः तथान्तर्ज्योतिरेव यः स योगी ब्रह्मनिर्वाणं ब्रह्मभूतोऽधिगच्छति लभन्ते ब्रह्मनिर्वाणं ऋषयः क्षीणकल्मषाः छिन्नद्वैतायतात्मानः सर्वभूतहिते रताः कामक्रोधवियुक्तानां यतीनां यतचेतसां स्थितो ब्रह्मनिर्वाणं वर्तते विदितात्मनां स्पर्शान् कृत्वा बहिर्बाह्यां चक्षुश्चैवान्तरे भ्रुवोः प्राणापानौ समौ कृत्वा नासाभ्यन्तरचारिणौ यतेन्द्रियमनो बुद्धिः मुनिर्मोक्षपरायणः विगतेच्छाभयक्रोधः यस्तदा मुक्त एव सः भोक्तारं यज्ञतपसां सर्वलोकमहेश्वरं सुहृदं सर्वभूतानां ज्ञात्वा मां शान्तिमृच्छति ॐ तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे कर्मसन्न्यासयोगो नाम पञ्चमोऽध्यायः। हरि ओम् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम्।
ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। ओम समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ओम मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। Hari Om, a very good afternoon to everyone. The topic that has been given to me is important life lessons from the Bhagavad Gita. A long topic, a lot of words in them. In a way, it makes it easy to understand. We need to also understand these words. Bhagavad Gita, as was briefly mentioned, is one of the most popular texts which has influenced all people of all the various backgrounds, and from that we are talking about drawing life lessons. Before we proceed, I have a quick request to everyone, because this session happens to be the second session after lunch. It would be nice if all of us can stand up once. Stretch your hands upwards, interlock them, stretch upwards, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and as we leave and come back down, just make a sound from the mouth. Ha! Thank you very much. Please take a seat. Bhagavad Gita. Gita is, as we all know, it's also a word that is familiar to us. Gita. Gita means song. When do we sing a song? Except for movies, only when we are happy we can sing a song. In movies, sad songs do exist. But in life, it is only when we are happy that we sing songs. When we say Bhagavad Gita, what does Bhagavad mean? Bhagavad means we say something related to God, Bhagwan. So when we say Bhagavad Gita, it is divine. a divine song. And whenever we say Bhagavad or the word divine, in common parlance we may call it, it is something out of the world. Divine is not of this world, alaukik. So what is this out of this world, and how it can help me in this world? This is something very interesting. Before we get into specifics, the background of the Bhagavad Gita is very, very important for us to know. Are we familiar a little bit about the story of Mahabharata? Who are the characters of Mahabharata who are very famous? Kauravas and Pandavas. It's a family story basically revolving around this family. Anybody else who does not belong to this family who is very famous? Shri Krishna. Yes. So we have this entire Kuru Vansha, the Kauravas, Pandavas, cousins, and also there is Shri Krishna. So there are many other popular personalities. Now, of these, can we say which are the characters that are having a mention in the Bhagavad Gita? Arjun, who is the main listener. Sanjaya, who is the narrator. Dhritarashtra, who is the one who is listening to Sanjaya. Of course, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan has to be there. So Shri Krishna. So these are the four main speakers whose words are there documented in the Gita. But other than these, there are also some mentions. Bhishma Pitama has been mentioned. Dronacharya has been mentioned. Karna has been mentioned. These names are there. Ashwathama, yes. No, in the Gita. Ghatotkacha name is not there in the Gita. Janaka has been there. No, but from the Mahabharata stories. Abhimanyu, okay. Gandhari does not have a mention in the Gita. Draupadi also. Karna's name is there. Yes. Kunti in the terms of Kaunteya. Kunti ka putra. Okay. So anyway, Bhima, etc. Okay, fine. So we have a few other characters also which are there. Dronacharya. Duryodhan also is mentioned in the Gita, in the very opening. So that's very important because we always feel Bhagavad Gita mein Duryodhan ka naam to nahi hoga. But hey, why we talked about these various characters appearing in the Gita is very important to know this background. First of all, I would like to take a minute to just make us understand about where does Gita stand in the entire scriptural world of our Hindu Sanatan Dharma. We find that whenever any gadget or any machine is manufactured, there is a manual that comes along with it. Who writes the manual? The manufacturer ideally should write the manual, not the end user. Second, when is the manual published? Along with it. When do we get it? With the machine, with the gadget. Okay, when are we supposed to read it? Only for troubleshooting? Before or earlier the better. Right? Now, we have a very and more sophisticated and more complicated the machine, the manual becomes more important and more voluminous. Agreed? Now we are living in a world which we don't find very straight line format. There is sophistication, complication. Now forget about the world, our inner world, our own world, our body. Sophisticated machine, mind more sophisticated. So now if we have to use these, a manual is required. All the more. Now this manual that came with this creation in our scriptures is called Veda. Veda stands for knowledge. Veda is not one particular book. Veda means knowledge. This is the manual, user's manual for us to live a happy life. That's what manuals are meant for. Now, this Veda, it had all principles which are required to live life, a happy life, derive maximum joy in life. Now, this Veda, which was principle based, Siddhant, often we find it difficult in application. As in, when we learn or study pure science, it is one thing. We score good marks, we understand the concepts, we vomit out all in the exams, we are good. But when it comes to application, sometimes an engineer who has passed out from the engineering college goes to a manufacturing plant and learns from the worker there, who is hardly 10th pass. Why? Application. And then he says, oh, this is what we have studied. Yes, I have heard about this. This is what it means. So application is something very different, and we need application-based guidance also. And this application-based guidance, based on what I need specifically in my field of working, is in our scriptural language called as Smriti. Veda is called Shruti because it was passed on just by a lineage of listening. And this is called Smriti, where the same principles of the Veda were taught, reinterpreted, presented in a way that is immediately applicable. So therefore, Bhagavad Gita, which is a Smriti, comes closer to life than Veda. So life lessons from Bhagavad Gita, the topic becomes relevant because Bhagavad Gita is the one which is closest to life. Secondly, the Bhagavad Gita is taught where? The Gita herself has mentions. Arjuna asks Sri Krishna to go to the middle of the battlefield. Senayoho ubhayoho madhye. Between the both armies. Take me. I want to go and see who is there. Come to fight. This standing between the armies in the battlefield. So Gita becomes more relevant in the sense that I am in the middle of the armies, in the battlefield of life, where I have to decide what I have to do, where I have to shoot my arrows, how I have to succeed, and that's where Gita is taught. In contrast to the Veda or the Upanishads, where Upanishads are taught, where students go miles together, they walk, take a pilgrimage, go to the Guru's ashram, which is set in a very, very picturesque, serene environment on the bank of a river, on the top of a mountain, in the middle of a forest, where the Guru is living peacefully and the Shishya comes there with a lot of curiosity and sincere sincere desire to learn something great, and the student knows very well what he or she wants to learn, and the Guru says, okay, stay here, serve for some time, get better clarity, and when you are able to articulate your question better, present them to me and we shall discuss. This is the setting of Upanishad. Here in the middle of the battlefield, student has not taken any journey. If at all he has taken any journey, with the help of the charioteer. Guru is his driver. The driver is driving him to the middle of the battlefield. He is about to begin the battle, and at that time, the student breaks down. His position is above that of the Guru. Contrast. He is behind the Guru. Usually, in the Upanishad, the Shishya is seated at the feet of the Guru. Humbly he asks, requests for the knowledge. And here he says, I am not going to fight. Sorry. He throws up his hands. He sits down behind the Guru, above the Guru. And the Guru has to stand up, turn around and say, what happened? What's wrong? I'm not going to fight. Okay, you're not going to fight, but what's wrong? How can I help you? You tell me what's good for me. I'm confused. The Shishya doesn't even know what he wants to know. Is it not a condition of ours today? We do not know what we want to know. We are in the middle of the battlefield. We do not know how to ask, whom to ask. Luckily, Arjuna had his driver, who may not be educated in a university, but Arjuna thought that he's more clever. He's an intelligent guy, a little older than me. He was, after all, his cousin. I said, okay, maybe he may be able to help me because he has done so in the past. So let me ask him, do we have somebody like that with us today? Or would we even consider asking a driver such a question? Maybe not. So here is Arjuna. The name Arjuna also is very, very significant with respect to Bhagavad Gita. This background is very important because what the Gita says will have an impact only when we understand these important points which are not, thought about so much. The word Arjuna, the name, in our culture, we always gave names which had a lot of meaning. Nowadays, names are given based on either Google search, or sometimes we drop a vessel and whatever sound comes, that's the name of the person. Now what it means, who knows what it means. So the point is, names were very, very meaningful. Either the quality of the child or what we want the child to be like. We give such names, very beautiful names. Arjuna is one such name. Arjuna means, that word comes from Ruju. Ruju means straightforward. Someone who is very straightforward. Straightforward means what? What I think I speak, what I speak I do. That's called straightforward, in simple terms. So Arjuna was someone, if he was convinced about something, he'll say it and do it. If he was not convinced about something, he'll say he's not convinced and he'll not do it. This Arjuna characteristic has to be there in a student of the Gita. He was not convinced about. For 12, 13 years he prepared for the war. But in the battlefield, suddenly he got clouded. He said, I am not convinced I should fight. I don't think this is a good decision. He was having a doubt. He spoke and he said, Na yotsye, I shall not fight. He dropped his weapons, sat down on the chariot and said, sorry, I am not doing it. Now Shri Krishna had to wake him up from that state. So first of all, that straightforward behavior. What do? Someone comes and asks, how am I looking? Oh, so good, you can't be better. And then I'm thinking in my mind, what a question, can't you see in the mirror? So horrible. But then outside, I want to make it feel good. I want to say what I'm supposed to say, not what is really I'm convinced about. And doing is completely different something. I'm just a phone call away. Let me know, I'm there for you. And when that person really calls in the time of need, I wish you had called 10 minutes ago. Now I am caught up in something. I'm so sorry, I can't be. Okay, that's not straightforward behavior. The first thing is I promised something that I could not keep. And then when I really am needed that time, so a friend in need is a friend indeed as per olden days. Nowadays a friend in need is a friend to feed. So things have changed. But Arjuna characteristic of being open. Okay, I do not know. What's the big deal? Somebody says, have you heard what is the Bhagavad Gita? Yes, I have heard. Because in this audience, how can I say I have not heard what is Bhagavad Gita? It's embarrassing. But it is better to ask a question and get embarrassed once rather than not asking a question and feeling embarrassed all our lives. So here is Arjun who says, I am not ready to fight. He was ridiculed. Krishna said, what kind of an attitude is this? You have come here, you're prepared for this all your life, you're waiting for this moment and now you're backing out. He says, I'm not convinced, sorry. Straightforward. And then finally he says, now you tell me what is good for me. I cannot decide. I'm too confused even to think, so please excuse me. This kind of attitude, being straightforward is something very, very important. And this straightforward behavior is something special to Arjuna. And not only this, there is one more thing that Arjuna did, which was very, very significant for the Bhagavad Gita. And that also is a very important part of the understanding and the spirit of Gita. This Bhagavad Gita did not begin only in the battlefield. Arjuna's victory did not begin in the battlefield. It began years ago. Since childhood, Arjuna and Krishna, not childhood, youthhood, their youth days when they were, when they escaped the wax palace incident, when they were all going to get killed. After that, they went for Draupadi's Swayamvara, and that's when they got to meet Krishna. And since then, Arjuna and Krishna have been having a very, very special relationship, a special friendship. Before the war, everyone had to, build their army. It was not just 100 against 5. It was, all the families, all the armies were a part of this war. And so, Arjuna and Duryodhan, both of them went to Sri Krishna. We know this incident very well. Arjuna's victory was decided on that day. This Bhagavad Gita was scripted on that day. It was a choice that he made. Given a choice, Duryodhan would have chosen Narayani Sena only. He would not have chosen Sri Krishna. And in fact, after coming back, he was mocking and he's saying, what a fool Arjuna is. I was really nervous. What if he took the army? But I am glad his foolishness made him choose this one unarmed fellow who knows how to tend cattle. What warfare. He may know a few magic tricks, that's all. But I have got the army. So that was Duryodhana's choice, whereas Arjun's choice was very clear. He said, you sleep in our camp, I don't mind. I don't want you to come to the battlefield. You sleep in your camp, but be on our side. That's it. I don't want anything else. Krishna said, what will I do alone in the camp? Let me come. I'll drive. You tell me where I have to go. I'll drive you around. And he drove him to success. We know that. This choice to have the right people around us is very significant for Bhagavad Gita to happen in our lives. Because Bhagavad Gita is not a book, it's life. So for Bhagavad Gita to take place in our life, we have to choose the right kind of people accompanying us, to be with us. And that in our culture is called satsang. To choose the right kind of people, to keep them around you. And that's why at that moment when he needed the most, there was his friend, his charioteer, Sri Krishna. He said, you help me out, I don't know what to do. There was help available. So because if it was some other Sarathi, I don't think this would have happened. And it is benefiting us also. It's such a long-term investment that one choosing of an unarmed charioteer has given advantage to generations together, that today also we are talking about this Bhagavad Gita. So with that brief background, we'll try and look at few points in the Gita which may help us to derive lessons from life. Gita is like a river. River constantly flows and is available for all those who would like to take a dip. Sitting here, if I wish that I need to get the benefit of a dip in Gangaji, I will not be able to get it. I have to go there, take a dip. It is available for me. So similarly, Bhagavad Gita is like that river who is available for everyone, whoever wants to take a dip, whoever wants to just sprinkle a little bit of water, whoever wants to bathe, it's up to us. So here we'll just see a few points. Bhagavad Gita opens with Dhritarashtra's question. and it ends with Sanjaya's comment. Right? The first verse of Bhagavad Gita starts with Dhritarashtra Uvacha. And the last verse, Sanjaya is concluding. Now, this itself is a very, very significant thing that we can understand Bhagavad Gita with. Dhritarashtra is who? Born blind. Could not see since birth. Sanjaya is who? He could see beyond the seen. He had the Divya Drishti. In fact, Vedvyas ji wanted to give that vision to Dhritarashtra himself. Dhritarashtra said, not me. I can't do this. But I have a friend, my secretary, Sanjaya. You can give him the vision. He will describe everything to me. Because I will not be able to see this. So, this vision was given to Sanjaya. Sanjaya is the one with divine vision. So what is the journey of Bhagavad Gita? Starting point is no vision. And ending point is divine vision. This is what Gita can do to us. We all also are like the blind king Dhritarashtra. We have our own attachments. He was blindly attached to his son, Duryodhana, and therefore he could not see what is right and wrong, what is good and bad, what I should do, what I should not do. He had the power to change everything. He was a king after all. He could have dismissed the war. He could have said everything withdrawn. He could have been just. But he was blinded by that attachment to his son. And similarly, all of us also in a similar situation, we have our own attachments. May not be to a person, it could be a thing, it could be a concept, it could be a thought, it could be a question, it could be anything, but it blinds us. We can't see reason, we can't see justice. And from there, Gita lifts us up to see the beyond, see the unseen. And that is the beauty of Gita. Every word of the Gita has life lessons. The first word of Gita is dharma. Dhritarashtra says it, dharma kshetre kurukshetre samavetayu yutsavaha. Dharma is the first word. And the last word, Sanjaya says, dhruva nitir matir mama. Mama means mine. So dharma, mama dharma, my dharma is what Gita teaches us. What am I made for? What am I supposed to do? How do I fulfill my life? That's the manual of life. It does not talk about, and dharma does not mean religion. Dharma is the the essence of everything is dharma. For example, sweetness of sugar is called the dharma of sugar. The wetness is dharma of water. The light is the dharma of the sun. So, the essential nature, what is my essential nature? And knowing that, what am I supposed to do is called dharma. So my dharma, to know myself and to do what I'm meant to do, is what Gita is teaching. From the words of Dhritarashtra and Sanjay, we have not even touched upon what Bhagavan is saying. Still further, looking at what Dhritarashtra asks, so much of, hidden messages that we get, they are actually not meant to be hidden. It's hidden from us. We need to keep opening knots and trying to unveil. He says, dharma kshetre kurukshetre. That's how Gita begins. Sanskrit language is so beautiful. It has freedom of syntax. Syntax as in how we arrange words. In other languages, we need to arrange words in a particular sequence. I am playing cricket. If I interchange the positions of the words, cricket is playing I. It won't make sense. Whereas in Sanskrit, I have to say aham kridami or aham kandukam kridami. I can change the words in any order, it will mean the same. So dharma kshetre kurukshetre, it gives us the freedom to rearrange and it becomes kshetre kshetre dharmam kuru. means kshetre kshetre, in every field, dharmam kuru, do your duty. At every moment, perform your duties. Now, Dhritarashtra's words have life lessons for us. The very opening verse, very significant understanding of the society, how we, just before this session, we were talking about one consciousness, the one. Now, this one, how it is divided into many. Even Swamiji in the morning pre-lunch session also talked about this one consciousness, one God, and there are divisions and how that sarvatmya bhav can be understood. So here, this Dhritarashtra's opening verse is a very, very significant thing to understand how this division takes place in our mind. In his question, here's just a simple question. In the land of Dharma, which is Kurukshetra, many people have assembled in order to fight. Samavetaha yuyutsavaha. Samavetaha gathered, yuyutsavaha with a desire to fight. Who have gathered? Mamakaha Pandavaha. My sons and Pandu's sons have gathered to fight. Kim akurvata Sanjaya? What did they do, O Sanjaya? Now the question itself is so significant. He has already disowned the Pandavas. This is division. Ideally, in those days, and even one generation before, we had a time where we lived in a joint family where it was not mine and yours. All children grew up together. There was a family feeling was just one. We were all brothers, sisters, growing up together with, there was no competition, there was no comparison. And now here this question sets us to think, Mamakaha Pandavaha. Suddenly what happened? All his life he has been saying that you are also like my children. Pandu was my brother. And suddenly now the question says, my sons and Pandu's sons, what did they do? Which means the question had a very, very significant connotation that I don't consider Pandavas to be mine. So now tell me what happened. Division. It was actually one family, but the division was apparent. It happens whenever I own and identify with something. I think I have 3 more minutes.
You have 20 moments.
Oh,
Apologies.
thank you so much. Thank you so much. Mamakaha Pandavaha. One owned and other disowned. When we also get identified with something limited, we tend to take a side and another side is created. When 2 children fight and ask the parents, whom do you side? What would the parents say? Whom would you side? तुम दोनों तो मेरे दोनों आँखों जैसे हो. Whose side should I take? That's the. We don't know what side. Okay, one may be wrong, one may be right also, but still I won't take sides. But the moment I start taking sides, I create another side. Till the time I take sides, there is no side. There's only one. Mamakaha creates Pandavaha. So when I take something and say, this is mine, automatically there is a lot more that becomes not mine. And when there is something not mine, every evil comes into the picture. Because something is not mine, and if it is covetable, I want it. Something is not mine, and it is disgusting, I don't want it. And what is mine, that also sometimes gives me joy, sometimes it does not give me that much joy, and there is comparison, there is jealousy, there is anger, all sorts of social evils come when this Mamakaha comes to our life. In the Dharma Kshetra, He is talking about Mamakaha Pandava. When we are performing our dharma, that time there is no Mamakaha. It's just one, I have my duties, I fulfill my duties. And the question also is very, very peculiar question. Kim akurvata Sanjay? Hey Sanjay, what did these people do? He himself has asked, why have they gathered? To fight. And then what is the question? What did they do? I say, obviously, what else do they do? You go there to fight. What do? You fight. We came here for this seminar. What do? We have the seminar when a listener has to listen, speaker has to speak. Now we can't say, okay, you went for the seminar to speak there. What did you do there? You went to speak, you better, I hope you spoke. That's the question. What did you do? What did these people do? Which means, I have a hope that maybe Pandavas ran away. Maybe Pandavas now do not claim their rights on the kingdom. Maybe everything has resolved. Arey Baba, you are the king. You can take a decision. No. I want the problem to be solved without me being involved. Is this not a real life situation? We want some miracle to happen. The problem, all problems should be solved in my life. Okay, what are you doing for it? Nothing. I can check with you once in a while if the problems are solved. But then you are the boss. Yeah, but then why don't you decide what has to be done? We have to take it upon ourselves. We have to learn to own up responsibility. I have a role to play, let me play it the best I can. I may make wrong decisions, that's fine, but that is worse than shying away from decisions. I take responsibility, I do what best I can in my capacity. Mamakaha Pandavaha Kim Akurvata. What did they do? Okay, that's about Dhritarashtra. Now Sanjaya gives such beautiful, his choice of words and his way of communication. If at all anybody teaches, of course, other than Bhagwan himself, if anyone teaches wonderful communication skills, Sanjaya is someone, he is very, very good. He starts his reply to this question. Suddenly he starts, what was the question? There's sons of Pandu and my sons who have gathered at Kurukshetra, the Dharma Kshetra, for fighting a battle. What did they do? Now, as a reply to this, Sanjaya starts his reply with Duryodhana's whereabouts and news about him. So why are you talking about Duryodhana? What significant thing happened with Duryodhana? The Bhagavad Gita opens, Sanjaya opens his reply with Duryodhana. Drushtva tu pandavanikam vyudam Duryodhanastada acharyam upasangamya raja vachanam abravit. Says Duryodhan at that time, who was also about to be the Raja, he went to his Acharya, Dronacharya, and said this. Now this is very interesting. Why does Sanjaya have to talk about Duryodhan now specifically? It was a general question. What did these people do? Why could he not answer? Because Sanjaya wanted complete attention of Dhritarashtra. Because Bhagavad Gita is not something that we have popcorn and listen to. Complete attention is required. And how does anyone pay attention? When there is love, their attention happens. Otherwise, I have to concentrate. I have very weak concentration. This statement means I don't love the subject matter. Because where love is, concentration is effortless. Many students are brought to us and said, Swamiji, please, he doesn't have any concentration. He can't remember a thing. Talking about their own children. So often our Gurudev Swami Chinmayanji used to say, after all, he is your son. but jokes apart, The question is, what is concentration missing in watching TV? Do we say that my child does not have concentration in watching TV? Has there been a complaint like this ever? My child is not focused when he is playing a video game. I want you to help with this. Anytime? Never. What is the complaint about? Studies. Which means what? Now, all of us went to school. How many of us loved going to school is one question. And another question is, how many of us love to study? Both these are two different questions. We know it. So concentration, I have to put in effort to focus my mind. And then I have to go for workshops, concentration enhancing workshops. For studies, put a TV in front of that child. एक बार एक एडवर्टाइजमेंट का जिंगल सुन लिया, डेथ बेड तक याद रहता है. रात को जगा के पूछो अचानक, immediately it will come out. But morning, noon and night, you sit with a stick and say, you learn this, learn this, learn this. It doesn't go in. Why? Love. That's the only thing. So how to get attention? Sanjay also did not want to discourse about Duryodhan. But he got his attention with what? One character who is at the battlefield. Dhritarashtra's, all his emotions were invested in that Duryodhan. He said, Duryodhan did this. Tell me about it. What did he do? So he went to his Acharya, he was nervous. He expressed his nervousness, blabbered a lot of things. That's what Sanjaya says. We're not going into every word of it. But he grabs complete attention of Dhritarashtra just by opening his reply with Duryodhan. So, art of communication. How to grab somebody's attention. Talk about what that person is interested in. And then, so that's something very, very beautiful. When Duryodhan goes and expresses his nervousness by blabbering a lot of things, he insults his guru also, Dronacharya. And Dronacharya is quiet. This is from the first chapter of the Gita. Dronacharya is silently listening to everything. Okay, whatever you are saying, I know you are nervous. Because Duryodhan perhaps did not expect Pandavas to come with such a big army. Although it was smaller than their own. But he thought that these 5 people will come on foot with one weapon in hand. And he has this huge army and they'll just be overpowered in no time. But then they also got a huge army and he could not believe. So he got suddenly nervous and he saw great warriors in the Pandavas' army. So he was naturally jittery about it. And he went and blabbered things. In the course of his blabberings, he insulted his guru, Dronacharya, who gave this Vidya to him. Dronacharya was silent. He listened to all of it. He did not even feel it worth commenting or stopping Duryodhan. You would go on, whatever. Anyway, there's no point. This is a very, very important life lesson for us. If somebody listens to us silently, it does not mean agreement. Even if it is our teacher or a parent or an elder or a mentor. Because if they are listening to us silently, maybe they believe that इसको बोलने से कुछ फायदा नहीं है. Dronacharya did that. These are unspoken words of the Gita that we derive lessons from. That silent listening does not mean agreement. Not always. Sometimes you just feel it not worthy saying a word. ये बोलता रहेगा, इसकी आदत है, छोड़ो उसको. Then going forward a little bit, Arjuna's overconfidence is seen. Again, beauty of, I'll speak for 5 more minutes and after that we can have question answers. Right. Arjuna's overconfidence or arrogance and fear are expressed in the same words with the same words. That is a beauty again of Gita and the Sanskrit language. Uses of pronouns. Here, the passive voice and use of pronouns facilitates this. I'm not going into grammar too much, but it is a very beautiful, significant verse where Arjuna says, Kair maya saha yodhavyam. This is the phrase in the first chapter. That take me to the middle of the battlefield between the two armies. I want to see. Kair maya saha yodhavyam means there is double pronouns used. Who has come to fight with me? Or whom do I have to fight with? They have a very subtle connotation. Who has come to fight with me? That's arrogance. And who do I have to fight with? That's fear. Both these are expressed. This is a very, very important, significant thing that when we have fear inside, often it is expressed as arrogance. Arrogance does not always mean arrogance as it is. Sometimes it is fears expressing as arrogance. Modern psychologists say this. Arrogance or anger. कौन आया है मेरे से लड़ने? The same thing is actually कौन आया है? किसके साथ मुझे लड़ना होगा? Both are expressed in the same words. So here Arjuna, at one level, he was afraid. At the other level, it was expressing as overconfidence and saying, let me see, I want to just, see who all have assembled here. There is something very interesting that once Arjuna wants to see this, Krishna senses this subtle fear. Now, Krishna's treatment also is something very beautiful. He says, he doesn't say actually, he just says one word in the first chapter of the Gita, not even one full verse. He just takes the chariot, places it in front of Bhishma and Drona. Bhishma Drona Pramukhataha. Sthapayitva rathottamam, taking the ratha in front of them. He just draws Arjuna's attention and says, Pashya, look. As an answer to his question, whom do I have to fight with? Or who has come? Ye hai answer tumhara. So the arrogance died immediately and the fear arose. Oh, my own grandfather. Oh, my own guru. Not possible for me. If he had placed the same chariot in front of Duryodhan, the arrogance would have stayed, and it was false arrogance. We know that fear was behind it. Krishna's treatment, silent treatment, took him there and said, here, look, these are the ones. Really? No, I can't. As soon as this I can't came, immediately justification starts. This is what happens to us also. My inability is camouflaged with something very glorious. I can't do it because this is not the right time. I am seeing bad omens. These are worshipful elders. I should not do this. Justification and glorification of my inabilities. This is what immediate escape route. He was under tremendous stress. And in the modern psychological language, stress means you are in a situation of fight or flight. And often we take flight. We don't fight. I want to get out of this. So, I have glorious reasons. And he lectures. Left, right, center, he gives dharmopadesh to Sri Krishna. And finally, he's so exhausted, he said, now enough is enough. Now I can't think anymore. Now you decide what is best for me and tell me, accept me as your disciple. He surrenders, but his surrender is extremely conditional. But at least he does. He verbally says it. He says, you have to tell me what is good for me. I will listen to what you say, but I shall not fight. Our surrender also is like that only. Bhagwan, सब कुछ मैंने आपको सौंप दिया. मुझे जो चाहिए वही देना. That is our surrender. Arjuna's surrender in the beginning of the Gita is like this. Everything offered to you, Bhagwan, but give me what I like. There was this thief. He said, I give everything that I steal to Bhagwan, and whatever he gives me back, that only I take. So somebody asked that, what do you do? Said, मैं सब कुछ उछाल देता हूँ, जो मुझे देंगे वही लेता हूँ. So this kind of surrender is no surrender, but still at least चलो सुनने के लिए तो तैयार है. At least you are ready to listen. And from that state where he could not think, he was completely confounded, he was completely stupefied, from that state, Arjuna is brought to a glorious state of understanding, maturity and readiness that he says, I am ready to do whatever you say in the 18th chapter. That is the journey of the Gita. This is what Gita can do. No, we have these advertisements where you have before and after. Before ऐसा होता है और फिर आफ्टर में इतने लंबे लंबे बाल होते हैं. And then you say कि हाँ, this shampoo or this medicine, and then suddenly you will have zulfe. But that before and after is very significant. That's a marketing strategy. Bhagavad Gita does it so beautifully. Arjuna thrown away his weapons and is sitting there and says, I can't think, I can't do anything. You tell me whatever you want to, I am not going to fight. And then at the end, he is there with his bow and arrow and he is ready there. So that's the last verse of the Gita. Yatra Yogeshwarah Krishnaha, Yatra Parthaha Dhanurdharaha. He is standing there ready to fight and saying, whatever you say, I am ready to do. Before and after. See the image, what transformation. Nothing outside has transformed. No change outside. Bhagwan was capable of changing the situation? Of course he was, but he did not. What did he do? He changed the internal wiring. That's it. And there you see Arjuna ready to fight. And that's where Sanjaya finishes with his own personal comment. He says, wherever there is Sri Krishna, who is a Yogeshwara, and wherever there is Arjuna, who is a Dhanurdhara, these two are there, their success, abundance, and all wealth is always there. This picture also is just in a line, if you have to say. Any endeavor of ours has two aspects. One aspect is what we do, which is called our effort, and other aspect is what has to happen. Simple example, when we want to go to sleep, can we do the sleeping? If the doer of the sleeping is there, which means we are not asleep. So what do we have to do? We can set the atmosphere right, we can lie down, we can tell our mind, not now, tomorrow, now I want to sleep. That is in our hands. After that, we get sucked into sleep. That has to happen. We have to let it happen. This is what these two represent. Dhanurdhara Partha means the effort, human effort, and Yogeshwara Krishna means divine grace. So human effort plus divine grace is equal to success, abundance, wealth. So this is a simple equation with which Bhagavad Gita ends. So we understand that whatever is in my hands, I do it. And then whatever is not in my hands, divine grace. It has to happen. So I can organize this seminar, but people don't come. Maximum I can take, send people with a gun and say, if you don't come, that is also okay in our hands. But they say, okay, shoot me, but I'm not going to come. Then what do? We can't do anything. So part of every action I have to do, and rest I have to let it happen. That's called divine grace. So human effort plus divine grace is success. That is the greatest life lesson we can draw from the Bhagavad Gita. There's much more, but then we have limited time. Thank you very much. 3:40 was my time. I have finished.